everyone. Good evening, Canby. Welcome to the October 7th, 2015 Canby City regular meeting. If you will please stand for an invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Father, thank you so much for this great community. Thank you for the leaders that are here at the dais and out in our audience and those at home. We lift up the community of Roseburg in light of all that has transpired in the last week. Please touch them, heal them, and we as a city so feel for them, and we wish the best for them in this time of need and time of healing. Please lift them up, Lord, and take them into your arms and help heal. We ask these things in your Son's name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, there's no comma. Thank you.
It's a free copy. Put the first thing on this.
We have two proclamations this evening. First proclamation this evening is recognizing Public Power Week, October 4th through the 10th, a week-long celebration of Canby Utilities' year-round electric and power service to Canby. Whereas we, the citizens of Canby, place high value on local control over community services and therefore have chosen to operate a community-owned, locally controlled, not-for-profit electric utility, and as consumers and owners of our electric utility have a direct say in utility operations and policies. And whereas Canby Utility provides our homes, businesses, and local government agencies with reliable, efficient, and cost-effective electricity employing sound business practices designed to ensure the best possible service at not-for-profit rates. And whereas Canby Utility is a valuable community asset that contributes to the well-being of local citizens through energy efficiency, customer service, environmental protection, economic development, and safety awareness. And whereas Canby Utility is a dependable and trustworthy institution whose local operation provides many consumers protections and continues to make our community a better place to live and work, and contributes to protecting the global environment. And whereas Canby Utility will continue to work to lower cost, safe, reliable electricity to community homes and businesses, just as it has since 1970, the year when the utility was created to serve all the citizens of Canby. Now, therefore, I, Brian Hodson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Canby, do hereby proclaim that the week of October 4th through 10th, 2015 be designated Public Power Week to recognize Canby Utility for its contributions to the community and to educate consumer owners, policymakers, and employees of the benefits of public power. We call upon our community to join hands with more than 2,000 other public power systems in the United States in the celebration of public power, which is best for consumers, businesses, the community, and the nation. Given unto my hand the 7th day of October, 2015 in the city of Canby. And I think Dan Murphy is here to accept this today.
Thank you.
Want to take a moment and say a few words?
I would like to thank you, Mayor Hudson, and members of the council. Thank you very much for adopting this proclamation for us for Public Power Week this week. And indeed, we are celebrating, and on behalf of the Canby Utility Board and our 25 diligent employees who work year-round at all hours, they do whatever it takes to keep your power flowing with dependability. We want to say thank you for your support. And to our citizens here in Canby, we want to tell you that we're celebrating all week long. Please come by the office and see us, shake our hands, and let us tell you a little bit about our story. Our success story here in Canby is only one of thousands, as the mayor said in the proclamation, of public utilities, communities of which, just like us, decided that we would do it ourselves. We'll assemble the resources, dedicate those resources, and provide electricity to our own city. Do it ourselves. And what a success story that we have. And it's very touching to be able to be a part of it. If you will come by and see us while supplies last, we're continuing to give these energy conservation kits out at the public utility. The main feature of this energy conservation kit is that there is a very high-end surge protector in here that not only will protect your computer or your TV or whatever you have it plugged into from an electrical surge, but if it goes inactive and you're not watching your TV, you doze in your couch, it will shut the power off for you and save you energy. And we have also in the kit 4 of these very, very, very high-quality LED lights that are designed to replace your incandescent bulbs. And if you will replace these throughout your house, you will have really good illumination, plus you'll save serious energy. And also in these, we have a couple of shower heads. We're in the water business, and we want you to do what you can to conserve. And we encourage, again, all of our citizens to come by and see us. Let us give you a gift. And again, thank you for your support.
Thank you. You mentioned the surge protectors and nodding off. I thought maybe you knew something about my house, and it happens quite often. So thank you very much for that. Our second proclamation this evening is for the Walk and Bike to School Day. Whereas for more than a century, the bicycle has been a utilitarian, economical, and environmentally sound and effective means of personal transportation, recreation, and fitness. And whereas the City of Canby encourages the use of bicycles and walking as a means of transportation, and whereas the City of Canby recognizes the bicycle as a legitimate roadway vehicle and therefore is entitled to legal and responsible use of all public roadway facilities in Oregon, except highways constructed to interstate standards, and whereas the City of Canby encourages the increased use of the bicycle and walking, benefiting all citizens of Canby by improving air quality, reducing traffic congestion and noise, decreasing the use of and dependence upon finite energy sources, and fostering physical fitness. And whereas the City of Canby recognizes the use of bicycles and walking as viable modes of transportation, endeavors to promote safe and responsible bicycling and walking, and is committed to incorporating the development of bicycle and pedestrian facilities in the vision for revitalizing downtown Canby. And whereas the City of Canby's Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee and the Mayor encourage all citizens to ride their bicycles or walk to work, to the store, to the park, to school, and around their neighborhoods with friends, family, and neighbors in order to promote the personal and societal benefits achieved from bicycling and walking, and to experience the joy and fun of bicycling and walking. Now, therefore, I, Brian Hodson, by virtue of the authority vested in me as Mayor of the City of Canby, do hereby proclaim the second Wednesday in October, that being October 14th, 2015, as Walk and Bike to School Day in the City of Canby, and do urge all those in Canby area to support and promote this observance. Given unto my hand the 7th day of October, 2015, in the City of Canby, Oregon. And do we have someone here to accept that? Thought Liz is here. Perfect. I saw your yellow card. I wasn't sure if you were going to collect this too. How are you? Good. It's good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Did you want to say a few words?
No.
No?
Thank you. It's actually supposed to be 73 and sunny that day as well.
70 and 3
thought I'd
and
let you
sunny.
know.
Perfect. I think my kids today had, Trost was doing a walk or bike to school today, and normally I round them all up, drop them off at school, and then head off to work. But all 3 of them were like, "No, we want to walk today," and I wasn't sure if it was for the physical activity of it all or the prize that they'd get for walking. So we'll err on the side of it was just they wanted the exercise and not the prize. I'll give my kids the benefit of the doubt on that one tonight. Next on the agenda is communications. Anything?
One thing to share with you, I want to present on behalf of our risk manager, assistant city administrator, and human resources director, Amanda Zyber, the League of Oregon Cities and CIS Gold Safety Award to the City of Canby for no lost time, an injury frequency rate of 0 in fiscal year 14-15, our workers' compensation program. That's an extraordinary feat. And I appreciate our leader, Amanda, and all of the employees of the City of Canby for their diligence in bringing safety to the workplace.
Well, I think Amanda should come up and collect.
I think Amanda should come
Amanda, would you please come up and collect the, because I know how much you love being on TV.
Thank you so much.
And how many years in a row have we received this?
We've gotten the gold. We got it last year. Over the last 5 years, I think we've gotten at least silver or gold. And we have very, very, very little time lost for work comp claims.
Perfect. Excellent.
Shout out to our staff for that as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. Anything else there, sir?
No, that's it.
All right, perfect. Tonight is our first opportunity for citizen input and community announcements. If you have a little yellow card and want to come and make a statement on anything that's at this point non-agenda related, you can fill that out and bring it up. If you have something you want to talk about later, you can fill that out now too. They're all rushing to it, so perfect. Moving into mayor's business, a couple of things. I just want to take a moment and welcome Irene Green, our new library director. Irene, would like to come be on camera so everyone can see. Thank you very much. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I can't tell you how excited I am to be part of this community and just expand the library services here. It's so much is happening here at Canby. It's very exciting. Thank you.
Well, welcome. We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I want to thank, so last Friday was First Friday, and I want to thank Rick and your team, and I think Haley and the rest of the, drawing a blank on my, Jamie, thank you, and the economic development team on kind of revamping it and doing some things with a number of more homegrown, home-based businesses downtown, and I got an opportunity to swing by and visit with a couple of them. They loved being down there. The weather wasn't great, but they were all in good spirits and really seemed to be thankful that we were able to bring that together. So I hope we can continue to see some of that. So tell Jamie thank you from us on that.
Yeah,
that was a great idea.
She really deserves that pat on the back because there was one comment that came from the community, and she reached out to that individual, brought them in, and really redefined what we are doing on First Fridays now as a result. So that shows great proactive approach.
I really think too the piece to that though was again conversation kind of can cure so many things when we get people together to talk about things and new ideas and so kudos to Jamie for making that happen and for those businesses being down there. So thank you. So it was great. C4, so Clackamas County Coordinating Committee meeting that I attended last week. A big thing was a heavy conversation and presentation on new emergency communication system and equipment that is looking to go in, and that's going to be coming to the voters. I think coming up here, I'm seeing a puzzled look by our fire chief. Yes, in May. Thank you. Coming to us in May. Is there a way that I think maybe a presentation here, maybe the first part of the year from maybe our police department and if our
County came to us, but you mean on camera?
right, I meant
Yeah,
on
we'll
camera.
ask our C4 director to come. I'm sure he'll be happy to come back to the city and do a presentation on camera. He did the work session here a couple months ago, and you expressed your support then. I'd also note that one of the changes that had recently been instituted, there was some concern about moving to digital radios from the analog that we have, and a $250,000 price tag to accomplish that. And after a long discussion with the chief, he brought back a recommendation to the C4 task force, and that they include a percentage of the radio costs in the bond measure. So right now, looking at the pickup, if the measure is successful, not only the implementation of the new radio system, but also absorbing 50% of the cost of the new digital radios for all of the agencies that are partnering in this project. So it's a huge win for us and a great opportunity, I think, to upgrade and improve our system.
Yeah, it ended up being pretty lengthy dialogue amongst the mayor group there. the coordinating committee meeting, and just a lot of questions on life of the new system. As quickly as technology is upgrading and moving, how quickly are we going to get outdated, and will that keep up? So that was a big crux of the conversation that evening. So yeah, I think as the voters are looking at something like this, what does it mean? I think some context for the viewing audience might be worthwhile.
That's a great idea.
This evening, we had a work session beforehand. We started our evening here at 6. We had 2 work sessions. We had a general Canby update. We just had some meeting, just a kind of a follow-up piece with them. It was a good dialogue. I think there's some definitely some good dialogue there. And at the piece of the meeting, the group from General Canby Days have offered up their 30-day notice of resignation from heading up General Canby Days going forward. So staff will be getting together to talk about that piece and what, if any, of the city what role we will play as a city going forward. So stay tuned for some more on that. We also had a work session on the newly instituted marijuana pieces regarding dispensaries for the medicinal and recreational use. And we're going to be getting some staff homework done and a report here coming up to us in a couple of weeks on next steps and what our decision points are, and ultimately what will probably end up coming to what seems like will probably end up coming to the voters as a conversation piece. So stay tuned for those aspects. And lastly, if you've not been on Facebook or Twitter or other social media avenues, I need to give a tremendous, I don't know if applause is the right word, or gratitude to Canby High School Choir. If you've not seen the video, please go to YouTube. They did an amazing hymnal choir piece as a support, as a remembrance, as a piece for the Umpqua Community College and what had transpired down there in Roseburg. Please take a moment and watch it. It is such a tremendous piece and very moving. And so I thank them and all the students that performed. It was, yeah. So,
Mr. Mayor, what is that called, the YouTube video?
Actually, Canby High School, I think it's just under Canby High School Choir. They have their own YouTube channel. So you can go there and see all the various performances that they've done. I'm sure if you go to a couple of different Facebook feeds around the high school, it's embedded in there.
Link.
Or somebody can email the link. It's been viewed, I mean, a tremendous amount already, and but it's pretty powerful. So please take the 6 or 7 minutes and just kind of watch it and take it in. So that concludes my reports, and we're going to start at the opposite end of the table with Councilor Coleman this evening on Councilor Liaison reports, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the Planning Commission front, I attended the last Planning Commission meeting where they approved the North Redwood Development Concept Plan. On the municipal audit front, our next meeting will be on October 28th. That's an all-committee work session meeting. Wanted to let everyone know that on October the 24th at 9 a.m., everyone in the community is welcome. That's when they have the Canby Rodeo Course tryouts at the fairgrounds. Start at 9 a.m. And so welcome, everyone. I wanted to say that I think Canby Excavating doing a great job on the library project. I attended the ribbon cutting for 4-8 Financial with Tim, Paul, and Stephanie Carlson's office. Also, with my wife, it was kind of fun this last Saturday. We're working in the yard, and I went down to Ace, which is a wonderful hardware store here in town, and we popped our head into the new Starbucks, and that's a really nice coffee shop to go with our other coffee shops. Another thing we did that was a lot of fun, I would encourage the community to do, we got a couple of burgers at Frack Burger, and then we went over to the tap room for a couple of adult beverages. And it was a lot of fun. They allow you to bring in food there, And they even had a Fultano's pizza menu, so if you want to go there and watch a game, you can order a pizza to be delivered.
That's pretty good.
So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Councillor Height.
So my Canby area transit update is that there's a rider alert that they put out. So they're changing a stop. So where Canby Square and Safeway is, it's going to be closed. The bus won't go into the Safeway parking lot any longer. So if you want to head to Oregon City, you'll go to the Vietnam era Memorial area. And if you want to go towards Aurora, that direction, it's in front of Walgreens. So rider alert if you ride the bus. These are around too, but that's an important thing to communicate, I think. Their new Route 99 is going well. Apparently, riders have adapted to that. And the Rider of the Month is Emma Trevejo. And Canby, the library, of course, the big news is our new director. Welcome. And there's a couple new programs that they've initiated which are interesting for kids. I'm pretty excited about that personally. There's an Oregon Battle of the Books study group going on now for 3rd through 5th graders, 6th through 8th graders. It's a statewide kind of program, and local libraries are taking that on. I'm so pleased Canby's doing that. And also a book club for 2nd and 3rd graders even on one Saturday a month. So it's just so interesting to see how things are always changing and they're reaching different community needs there. I'm impressed with that. There's going to be a Day of the Dead celebration on Halloween at 11 a.m. at the library, so that'll be interesting. And there's a WorkSource Oregon program. I think this is interesting. October 21st, 10 to 2:30, job help, job coaching, interview coaching, life skills, so great programs there. School board, the kindergartners are adjusting to their all-day hall, and they're doing it. They're doing superbly, I think, at this point. They increased. There's now the half-time counselor and PE teacher position. The principals have weighed in and saying they're seeing a difference. Staff is appreciative. Good. They're professionals, they're certified, so there's a lot of expertise being brought there. Then the Smarter Balance, the state tests, those results came in, as you might have seen the Canby Herald. So staff are looking at those and trying to figure out how to close the achievement gap, and teachers are using those results to inform their teaching practices, of course. But that was a big change this year with that new test. The County Commissioner Town Hall, which was at the fairgrounds a couple weeks ago, I went to that. The themes were safety and roads and safety, or health and safety, really. A lot of the conversation was about homeless vets in the county. That was interesting. Some a little bit on transportation, but not a whole lot. And they spoke about marijuana also and their options that they're looking at in the county for, as we are here in Canby. So that was good to go. I'm glad they came to town for that. The Taste of Autumn, the Canby Educational Foundation had their first ever wine tasting event out on Lone Elder Road last Saturday, I think, and it was fun, well attended. Yeah, beautiful night, and they raised a lot of money for the school district. So kudos to them and all those organizers. It was a great event. Yeah. I dropped in on the Friends of the Library meeting today. I haven't been there for months since I was on the board, but it was good to see those folks. And they are organizing again for their 2nd annual tour of homes. As you recall, I think last December they did their first ever. It was very successful. So they're trying to sort of winnow down and figure out who are going to be which homes will be represented this year, but they'll be working on that. And you'll get an invitation, I'm sure, for that in December. So go Friends. I wanted to say thanks to Dave Rankin, with Just Serve. He came a couple weeks ago and presented. He's not here tonight, but I'm pointing at the desk here. He presented to us about that big volunteer program. So apparently he organized about 200 volunteers to work for the parks. They did Eco Park and Canby Community Park. So it's just a great service to our Parks Department. It was an impressive show of organization.
Great turnout, yeah.
Well done, guys. So yeah, thanks to them. And what else? Oh, one other volunteer event that I just heard about on Facebook, actually. There's a group that does beautification work from the Molalla River. I think they're called Molalla River Cleanup Group. October 17th, big volunteer event they're putting on, 9 a.m. They're going to be cleaning up some areas of the river near Ford, and under Knight's Bridge, and I think at the community park, too. So there's lots of work to be done there if more people want to get involved in a community park cleanup. So October 17th on there. And that's all I have.
Question for you, Councillor Height. With the new light rail piece opening up there in Milwaukee, have we ironed out? Are we connecting? How's that?
Oh, with CAT, you mean?
Yeah, with CAT connecting into Oregon City, and with that, is that still something that's in the works?
No, we end at Oregon City.
Right.
So then you catch, I'm not sure which bus it is.
33.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's where it ends, is the transit center in Oregon City.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Council President Dale.
Ready?
I am, sir.
Likewise, along with Clint, attended the ribbon cutting for 4-8 Financial. And my congratulations to Paul and Stephanie Carlson for going independent, so to speak, and striking out on their own. And my very best wishes to them. It's a great, great accomplishment. Wish them well. On the Canby utility front, if you get the Canby Herald, you've already seen that they are proposing a 12.7% average rate increase. Now, the bulk of that is due to Bonneville Power Administration's biannual rate increases. So don't yell at Bob and Dan, okay? It's not their fault. But as part of that procedure, there is a rate hearing coming up. That's October 27th at 7 p.m. at Canby Utilities headquarters. And you can also email your comments into them or snail mail them in if you'd like to comment on the rate increase. And those are accepted until 3 o'clock that day, right?
Yes, sir.
All righty. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Easy enough. Thank you. Councilor Hensley.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. My committee liaisons were a little light on the attendance this time around. We had no quorum for the Traffic Safety Commission, so I'll report on that next month. We also had no quorum for CTV5, so I'll report next month. But I did want to make mention, though, the one thing that was taken care of at the CTV5 meeting was an acceptance of a letter of resignation from Walt Daniels from the board. So I wanted just to give him a shout out. He has served the board well, as he always does with every service that he does for the city. And so a lot of years of service from Mr. Daniels. So once again, I get to thank Walt Daniels. And I like doing that. C4, you already talked about that, so I don't need to elaborate. I think you covered that well. Canby Main Street. I guess we get to talk about community stuff now. It's that time of year again. It's Halloween. We get the Spooktacular Village at the fairgrounds on Halloween, and it's a Saturday this year. And we are going to do the parade again and trick-or-treating downtown, 4 p.m. on Saturday of Halloween. And also on the community front, I attended the Chili Cook-Off, which you'll hear about more later, and the Bridging Cultures Picnic in the park at Way Park. And finally, the American Legion Auxiliary is actually having a membership drive right now. So if you're interested in more information on how to become an auxiliary member, you can give Marcia a call down at the Legion or attend the auxiliary breakfast on October 25th and speak to someone there. That's all I have.
And October 25th, I'm sorry, who's doing the breakfast that day?
That's auxiliary, so that's when the best gravy happens.
That's when the best gravy happens. Gravy with a side of gravy.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
They might put some potatoes or something
Maybe.
under there if you want them to, or they'll just put it in a bowl.
Councilor Parker.
In liaison reports, we're lucky to actually have our bike pedestrian chair with us tonight, so I think we'll be hearing from her on some of her thoughts. But the committee is continuing to work with coordinating with other jurisdictions in trying to get both information out and connections with bike lanes and bike routes. And thanks to Don Debner, who has encouraged me to get in training for Cycle Oregon next year. So you'll see this middle-aged man causing a traffic problem as he's navigating through town, so be patient with him. In terms of the Historic Review Board, this board has exploded beyond my wildest dreams. These folks are doing so much, both at a theoretical level of applying for the state historic designation and on the ground by gathering photographs and documents about the City Hall and taking photographs and gathering things as we move into a new City Hall. So I just can't say enough about how this team has really started working. I was at the first Friday. Also, I was very pleased that we have now what appears to be Artisan Village. And the mayor's right that Jamie deserves a lot of credit for turning a criticism into a good idea. And the mayor was a little bit modest. He also put a little bit of oil in the water on that too. So thank you for your calmingness. Councillor Hensley left out the fact that she and I both attended the Bridging Cultures event at Waite Park. It was first time moved from Locust Street Park to Waite Park. I loved it there, and we had in particular, it's mostly the Mennonite Church that's behind the Bridging Cultures. But what was so cool this time, instead of being at Locust Park, right downtown, you had people off the street wandering by, seeing that there were free hamburgers and hot dogs, getting in line, and then hanging around and asking what's going on. So it's a tremendous opportunity to bring together both the Spanish-speaking culture and Anglo culture. I wanted to thank the transit department, also the library having booths, and especially the police department. It was so neat. Officer Stephanie showed up, who was bilingual, and was wandering through the crowd and talking to people, and that's our department's come a long ways. That's really exciting. Also, yes, we'll hear more about the chili cook-off and the extraordinary physical transformation that one of our counselors underwent for this competition.
Will we bring pictures?
And I want to do a shout out to Oliver Insurance. You know, it's not just the city that helps with the downtown beautification. It is people like Oliver Insurance installed some wonderful new outside foliage. Looks great. Also, Mayor, if Clint talked about his visit to the new tap room, if we're going to start adding our visits, I'm going to need another half hour for my counselor comments. And finally, a note about our Main Street manager, who doesn't pay much attention to me. When a couple years ago, when she came on board and we went to the state Main Street program, and somebody during the award presentation was called up and named Main Street Manager of the Year. And Jamie said to me, as the liaison to Main Street, "That's going to be me." And I said, you know, really, you know, the people that go up, they've been here a long time. You know, this is a legacy sort of thing. You know, just be patient. Well, she doesn't pay any attention to me, and she has been awarded the Main Street Manager of the Year award for Oregon. So, you picked that up a long time ago.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good report, thank you. And so,
And congratulations.
appreciate the compliment. Oil and water? I didn't think they mixed.
Oil on water that calms the water.
All right, thank you for clarifying. I wanted to make sure I had...
Insult, right?
Which preposition was that?
You and
Was it a backhand?
you and I are oil and water.
So we can
Thank you, sir. Councilor Rocha,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in the last council meeting, I mentioned that I was going to be going to the Chili Cook-Off Safety Fair, which I'd like to thank Canby Fire for really doing a lot of work there. My company participated in it. I will announce on TV that we got Best Booth and People's Choice for the chili, so I'm pretty happy with that. We actually dressed up as the Village People and sang the YMCA song twice.
Excellent.
Yeah, if you can believe that. So the only thing that was missing was Columbia Bank. Apparently is there every year, and they've won it quite a bit. That's right. And they weren't there. So this is an official challenge for next year. Throwdown for Columbia Bank to be there next year. So
And it was on camera.
it was on top. Yeah.
Officially.
That's all I have.
That's all you have.
Excellent. Now, did you give proper kudos to your wife for making the chili? Oh,
Chocolate chili with linguiça.
I sit here corrected.
And or the
It was her recipe, but I made it.
Excellent. Thank you all very much. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I move for passage of the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes of the September 16th, 2015 City Council regular meeting.
And I'll second that.
Motion has been made by Council President Dale and seconded by Councilor Hensley to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the September 16th, 2015 City Council regular meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 6-0. Next on our agenda this evening is a public hearing. We will be hearing about the CPA 15-02/TA 15-01, the North Redwood Development Concept Plan, which is continued from September 16, 2015. Excuse me as I read our official statement for the public hearing format. The matter presently before the hearing body requires a public hearing. All interested persons in attendance shall be heard on the matter. If you wish to testify on this matter, please fill out a yellow comment card, like here, and give it to the city recorder, who is sitting there at the end. Kim, wave. There we go. At the appropriate time, please step forward to the microphone, state your name and interest in the matter. Those people other than the applicants that are interested in testifying as either proponents or opponents, please indicate your desire to speak by raising your hand at this time. Okay. For longer presentations, proponents and opponents may buy time from one another. In so doing, those either in favor or opposed may allocate their time to a spokesperson who will represent the entire group. You may be limited by the time for your presentation. The applicant will have a total of, Brian, Matilda, how much time do we need tonight?
15, 20 minutes presentation. And
okay, we'll do 15 minutes to speak. The proponents will be allowed 3 minutes each, and the opponents will be allowed 3 minutes each. The applicant will then have 3 minutes for rebuttal. All questions must be directed through the mayor. Any evidence to be considered must be submitted to the hearing body for public access. All written testimony received both for and against shall be summarized by staff and presented briefly to the hearing body during the staff report. Testimony and evidence must be directed toward the applicable review criteria contained in the staff report, the comprehensive plan, or other land use regulations which the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the decision maker and the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue may preclude appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Conflict of interest. At this time, I would ask that any member of the hearing body who has a conflict of interest please indicate the nature and extent of the conflict and whether you intend to participate in or abstain from hearing the present matter. Councilor Roach?
No.
No conflict?
No conflict, sorry.
No conflict.
No conflict. Thank you.
No conflict?
No comment.
I attended the planning commission meeting, sir, where I saw the approval of this.
Okay, you can bring that up at the next part. Have you had any conflicts of interest?
No.
Okay, nor have I. Thank you. Ex parte contact. Also, if any member of the hearing body has had any ex parte contact with anyone prior to this hearing, including a visit to the site, please declare the nature and extent of which contact at this time.
I drive by there every day, but
Okay.
Like the rest of the council, I received an email today concerning it, but it's a part of the record now.
Email, no other contact.
No other contact.
Planning.
Right, so we had a planning meeting on this piece, and then, yes, the email that has come through in the last little bit today. Does any member of the audience have any questions for any councilor or the mayor regarding ex parte contact or conflicts of interest? All right, seeing none, the public hearing will be conducted as follows. We will have the staff report. Questions, if any, by the hearing body or staff. I will then open the public hearing for testimony. The applicant will have not more than, I think I said, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. The proponents, not more than 3 minutes. Opponents, not more than 3 minutes. And then rebuttal by applicant, not more than 3 minutes. I will then close the public hearing. Questions, if any, by the hearing body. Then we'll have discussion by the hearing body. A decision shall be made by the hearing body at the close of the hearing, or the matter will be continued to a date certain in the future. This will be the only notice of that date you will receive. Does anyone have any questions about the procedure of the hearing? All right, we will move into the staff report.
Hi.
Good evening.
Nice to see everyone. This has been a long haul for this plan. It's kind of an exciting evening. Staff is hoping that the recommended plan will be approved by the council. We started this project in November We did this project to help satisfy a code requirement for properties in certain areas of the city designated on our annexation maps. Property owners or the applicant, developers, whoever wants to annex, prior to annexation, they have to have a development concept plan in place. So the brief history of this is that this is a large area, North Redwood area, about 66 acres. And there have been several efforts in the past, over the past probably 10 years or more, from staff as well as property owners to create such a plan. But because this area is quite complicated with natural resources, some challenges in steep slopes, traffic circulation on a collector street, and a lot of property owners involved. It's been very difficult for people to successfully do that. So, in a nutshell, we are very fortunate to be able to obtain assistance through a state grant program to engage the services of our consulting team, who have experience in creating development concept plans and master plans for neighborhoods that have complex issues to address. And the three of our team members, consulting team members, are here this evening, and they're going to do a presentation of the recommended plan that was approved by the Planning Commission on the 28th of September. They recommended approval. The council approved the plan as presented. So we've had the consultants are going to present, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to address a lot of the questions that we know from the Planning Commission hearing and from contacts throughout the process. So we're going to hit the highlights and address any of the concerns that we have heard over the course of this plan. And the plan has been developed with a large stakeholder advisory group and a technical advisory group, and we've had several public meetings as well as property owner interviews. So that will also come out in the presentation. So I'm assuming you've read the Planning Commission staff report, so I don't need to probably go blow by blow on that, but staff obviously recommended approval of the project, and it has met all of our code requirements for our comp plan amendment as well as a text amendment. So I would like to have our consultants, we have Ken Peary here from Walker Macy. He's the project manager for our consulting team. We also have Brian Vanneman from Leland Consulting here and Matt Hasty from Angelo Planning. They're all going to have a brief moment at the podium here to take pieces of the project forward, presentation forward. So I would like them to launch into this if that's possible, because I think the questions are more appropriately directed as we present the draft plan to the public.
Thank you, Matilda.
It's that.
Thanks, Matilda.
And we can back questions back and forth.
Yeah. And thank you, Mr. Mayor and councilors, for having us here today. We've really enjoyed working on this project it's about exactly a year. And we have something that I just need to fix on our computer. Maybe that'll go away, but it's hiding something pretty important. So. Can you just hit the little X? There, that's better. So as I was saying, we've been working on this for a year, and we've arrived at the culmination of what we believe has been a really successful process, and we've really enjoyed working with the people of Canby. I wanted to mention Matilda's efforts on the project. We've really enjoyed working with her, and her support has been really impressive. And Brian has also been a key part of the project. I also like to mention the efforts of the Stakeholder Advisory Committee, which included a lot of property owners in the area, including some private citizens, and then our Technical Advisory Committee, which included a lot of local agency representatives as well as state and regional representatives, and they were also very useful. Matilda introduced the team. They'll come up and talk and have a piece to say. As Matilda mentioned, I was the project manager for the effort. So I'll start off with a brief description of the concept plan and our recommendation for the plan. So as I mentioned, we're at the culmination of quite a lot of activity on this plan. We've held 3 of the sort of committee advisory meetings, interspersed with 2 public events, which were really well attended, and we got some really good input over at the police headquarters. We've presented a longer version of this to you at a work session back in August, and of course we had Planning Commission approval 2 weeks ago. So the study area, just as a recap, 66 acres on the eastern edge of the city, on sort of bounded by Highway 99, North Redwood, and the sort of Willow Creek natural area and territorial to the north. Just in terms of its location, it's got a lot of really great proximity to natural amenities like Willow Creek and the Willamette River and the Eco Park property, the logging road trail. So we think that it's got a lot of attributes that would attract potential residents, least of all the proximity for someone commuting to the metro area. So in terms of the actual physical layout, there are 18 owners of 23 tax lots in the study area. And you can see in this topographic map the sort of canyon that's formed by Willow Creek. And that does form a major environmental constraint, but it's also an opportunity for the future community. So we developed some criteria for the concept plan. I've bolded some of the key words that we think apply to this. And these criteria were developed with the help of city staff and referring to your vision for your community and previous plans. And we vetted this with the committees and in public events. But a key thing is that this plan should feel like it's integrated with the city of Canby. It's not sort of a gated community off to the side that doesn't feel like Canby. This should just feel like a natural extension. It should be walkable and a cohesive neighborhood, not a collection of sort of self-contained pods that aren't connected. There should be, and we've really made an effort to distribute impacts from the natural area equitably to individual property owners, and to consider the different timing the different owners might have with development. Similarly, in terms of infrastructure and roads, we've been careful to consider that there be an efficient layout and that any costs to development be reasonable. And then I bolded number 10 that Willow Creek natural area we think is a really great opportunity as an amenity. So speaking of that, we've done some preliminary calculations of that Willow Creek environmental area, and we've calculated there's a roughly 9.3 acres in that green zone, which includes things like steep slopes, over 25%, potential wetlands, which have in the past been delineated, but that delineation has expired, so future development would have to re-delineate, re-flag the perimeter. There is a FEMA 100-year flood boundary. If anybody remembers the 96 flood, there was water all the way up to territorial and south. And then just in between all those areas, there's flat land, but it's going to be really difficult to access those areas down steep slopes around wetlands. So we've included that in that zone. So it's worth pointing out that that zone is not in great shape. It's not home to any sensitive species. There's no ESA-listed salmon, but there is trout in there. And it needs a lot of restoration and a lot of help. But there may be some partnership opportunities with state agencies or private groups that could help with that restoration, because it is an important habitat area. It's also worth pointing out that this is, the city is expressing a unique commitment to helping property owners by accepting this natural area as dedicated parkland. And I'll have Brian and Matt will describe that in more detail. But that, again, is a great opportunity for property owners. So the zoning in the parcel, the majority of it is LDR, which is low-density residential, and I'll describe what sort of homes result from that zoning. And I should point out that this is not city zoning yet. This is from your comprehensive plan. This will guide eventual zoning. So LDR is the equivalent, roughly, of R1. And then south of the LDR, there's the medium-density residential, which is roughly equivalent to R2. What, 1.2?
Well, I'm going to the R1.5.
R1.5,
R2
sorry.
is the high density.
Yeah. And then there's a parcel on the very south end, HDR, which would be R1.5. R2, sorry. So this is our recommended concept. And this concept, we believe this maximizes the value of parcels. It incorporates that natural area that we described along Willow Creek. It responds well, we believe, to topography and other natural features. And it's important to note that there will be a lot of flexibility in this layout. So this is a recommended concept. And as Matt will describe in detail, the code allows for that flexibility, but also notes that there are some key things that the plan that needs to see from eventual developers' plans, because we realize private owners will create their own plans with their own engineers and planners. But just as a way to help city planners like Matilda understand and compare the two and evaluate future plans against and see how successful they are in meeting this overall concept. So it's worth pointing out, too, that in the math around this plan, there are 15 acres in roadways, which is, based on our experience in private development, that's about par for the course for redevelopment. So there isn't an undue amount of roads described, but it does provide really good connectivity across North Redwood with the other neighborhoods to the west. And then it's worth pointing out that the total comes to just under 66 acres, and that's because there will be a dedication of land on the east side of North Redwood for the improvement of that street at a later date, once it becomes a city street. So some details about the plan. When we zoom into the Willow Creek Natural Area, we're proposing a 1-acre park as sort of a trailhead park at the top of the slope that would serve as an informal pocket park and an amenity for the neighborhood. The eventual configuration of that is to be determined working with developers. There is also a pedestrian bridge shown. And in earlier plans, we showed a vehicular bridge. And our engineers on the team, we had a civil engineering firm named OTAC who studied, they've done a lot of these bridges, and they found that a bridge across that canyon, which can be up to 30, 35 feet deep from top of slope to bottom of slope, would just be too expensive. And we do think it's important to bridge that somehow, but you can do a pedestrian bridge for much cheaper. But that pedestrian bridge could help to ensure that the eastern side of Willow Creek doesn't feel isolated and that it can feel as integrated in this community. That pocket would be accessed from a cul-de-sac extending off North Teakwood Street, and there would be a limited amount of lots, no more than 15 in that area, and those would be large lots compatible with the adjacent Willow Creek estates. There is ideally an emergency-only access across the Union Pacific Railroad. This is a photo showing that current access. That would require a lot of negotiation with Union Pacific and ODOT, and that's not ever easy. So it's not essential to the project's success, but according to we've talked with the fire department, and that's not going to be something that's a deal killer in terms of the project. Ideally, that would occur, but ODOT and Union Pacific are generally trying to close such crossings. So in terms of the zoning, just to describe what that looks like, we estimate that there will be a range of possible housing counts in this community, anywhere from 213 to 289. That sounds precise. That's sort of an estimate based on the capacity of the plan. Based on 2.7 residents per unit, that would equal a range of 575 to 780 residents housed in this community. So the majority of the area is going to be the LDR, which is large lots, 7,000 to 10,000 square feet. And, at the lower end of the range, you would get 155 units on the smaller lots. If you had bigger lots, you get 103 units. And similarly, applying that to medium lots, you would get a range of housing types. And then in that parcel on the south end, you could build small apartments or townhouses or duplex units of roughly 3,000 square feet, which yields about 26 units. It's also worth pointing out that we're showing housing types, and we've tried to show a range. There's absolute flexibility to future landowners as to that type in terms of the design of the homes and the layout. They could be front-loaded with garages in the front or alley-loaded, which is not a common housing type and can be yet, but it's pretty popular in other communities locally. So because of our experience in creating master plan communities, we wanted to test the capacity of the community. We're not prescribing lot layouts at all with this plan, but this is a demonstration to landowners. This is how you could use our plan and lay it out with lots. So this is one way, one concept. We do understand, obviously, that owners will hire their own planning and engineering teams and use this plan as a guide. And in this layout, we achieved 237 lots, which is right in the middle of our estimates. So we know that the concept plan works from that standpoint. And just some details worth pointing out. I mentioned the flexibility between alley-loaded and front-loaded. Here's a block that assumes garage-loaded homes. Here's a block with alley-loaded homes. So these are little alleys behind the homes. The one place where you're going to have alleys is along North Redwood, because you can't have a bunch of garages with curb cuts off North Redwood. You'll have to have alleys behind with garages. But that'll provide a really nice street frontage on North Redwood. Other things worth pointing out, a pedestrian connection to encourage people to walk from this public edge through the community across North Redwood and access the logging road trail further west. And then here's the layout on the south. So just in terms of transportation, we've based the street design and the layout on your recently completed transportation system plan from 2012. There is one thing in that TSP that's going to be adjusted. It's in the process of being adjusted, and that is the Auto Road extension. And in that plan, Auto Road was going to extend over 99 and Union Pacific through the community. It was going to be a truck route. We looked at that, and it was just going to be really disruptive and very expensive. So we recommended removal of that, and that has been, or is in process of being removed from your TSP. And again, that just improves the quality and the potential of this community. So the TSP now merely shows where our potential grid connections are suggested to the west of North Redwood. The streets that are shown, the street cross-sections that are shown on the right, are from your TSP. So North Redwood would become a collector. It would take somewhat the form shown on this cross-section. Half of that has been built to your old standards. The eastern half would be upgraded with bike lanes and sidewalks and street trees. Of these sections, we think we really recommend that you pursue planting street trees just as a key to livability and increasing home values and creating the shade of a tree canopy over the streets. It's not common yet in newer developments, but based on our experience, we really recommend that aspect of the street layout. So in terms of, here's an image that I've included to show you North Redwood, its existing condition. You can see that eastern half is unimproved. That will be improved. It's currently a county road now. So another thing worth pointing out is that there is a Canby area transit line on North Redwood, and that would continue, and that provides good transit service to the future community. Potentially you could see a transit route going into the community if demand supported that. We think it's important that one key neighborhood route form a loop through the community, connecting at a cross street on North Redwood and coming back out in the north. That loop could start here and end here. This is our recommended concept, but again, there's flexibility. Other things worth pointing out that there was a question raised in the Planning Commission, will there be a need for a traffic signal? There's one on 99 now. There won't be a need. Based on the TSP, they knew that a plan like this was going to be prepared, that there was the capacity on this property to be redeveloped. They studied that intersection. It won't need a signal and doesn't even come close. So that will continue to operate well with its current four-way stop condition. Now with parks, I mentioned that 1 acre park, we suggest a pocket park / trailhead, maybe with a picnic area, a play area. That's an amenity for future residents. I mentioned the pedestrian bridge. Here's an example of a pedestrian bridge that can be used by bikes as a way of encouraging connectivity across the canyon. The details of the trail design, that'll all be worked out later, but this is a significant amenity that will be something that can be used by the greater community. You have the logging road trail, but if you want a more natural connection alongside the creek, then that'll be a good option. And that's about a half-mile long trail, too. So we think that's a key benefit to the city. So let's talk quickly about utilities before I pass it over to Matt. So again, we had civil engineers on the team, and they studied the capacity of water, sewer, and stormwater to handle new development. There is adequate capacity for water. There's a 12-inch line under North Redwood. The key point is that to keep water pressure, we'll need to connect to that line at least 2 points to create a loop and sustain that pressure. But the neighborhood is fully served now. Sewer also, there's a line under North Redwood, so you're fully served with capacity there. There would be 2 basins here, and most of the